While I was trying to write these notes about our family, I asked Clara, that's her sister, in a letter if she had some memories from the years that I could not remember. She was born in 1885 and I was born in 1894. On November 20th, 1972, Clara wrote the following in a letter. So this was her sister writing this. When Grandpa Gulick Peterson visited Norway, he brought back many gifts. Those who were named after his wife Kari got more than others. I remember getting a nice trunk, a fancy chest, and a doll dressed in national costume. That would be their bunad, and I have a bunad as well that my mother got for me in Norway. Our children finished those later. When Grandpa came to pick up cream or milk, he always brought candy or other treat for Hannah, who was the baby. Once he forgot and asked if we could find some candy for him to give her so she would not be disappointed. When Grandma was sick, I stayed with her to keep her company. Dad came towards evening. When he went home, I wanted to go along. At first, sorry, this is a bad copy. At first he was thinking I'd stay, but I was determined to go home. That was the last I remember of Grandma, and I was sorry I left her that time.
I wonder how old Dora was then.
I don't know.
Okay.
Once when I brought lunch to Dad, when he worked in the field, he overlooked a donut. But when I told him, he said he had already thanked God for the lunch, so he didn't want it. Uncle Nels, a pastor and Dad's twin brother, once said, "I wish I was as good a Christian as my brother Peter." I always remember my parents as very devout Christians. My father was a close friend of our pastor, Reverend Sandvik, and that would be at Dell Church. They would sit on a hillside by the hour. When Father died, Sandvik said, "I might as well go now that Peterson is gone." When Father was gone, I remember Mother saying she would not be able to go on. But with God's help, she managed to bring up and educate a big family, as you know. Father had a library, so many religious, I think it says songs. I remember reading years later. He received them from his twin brother. Sorry, this is kind of hard to read. After Father's death, the shock to Mother was great. Once when she was tearful, she told me this incident some years later. I asked her, "Why do you cry?" "You told me he is in thee." He is in heaven and with Jesus. Mother said it was God who had me say those words of comfort to her. Mother had a tremendous influence on us all in a quiet way. I still feel that the prayers of my parents resulted in God's protection and guidance for all of us all our lives. Once Mother was ill and was under a doctor's care at Bryceland, 10 miles away, for a 6-week period. mainly for rest since she had gastric ulcers. I was allowed to stay overnight with her. Perhaps I was 6 or 7 years old. After we went to bed, or retired, they said, and all was quiet, I heard her praying for her family, naming each one of us: Gustav, Anna, Oliver, Clara, Nordal, Henry, Alfred, Peter, Dora, Hannah. While I was too young to realize all her responsibility and love, I always felt safe near her. I especially wanted to be close to her during our frequent thunder and lightning storms on the farm. My older sisters and brothers shared her responsibilities and work. My parents had lived on a claim at Columbia, South Dakota, near Aberdeen, for several years when they were first married. Life was rugged there, and they came back to Faribault County and settled on the farm near Frost and Blue Earth, which is still fortunately in our family. I heard my brothers say it was the best farm in Faribault County. Now Burton Peterson, Alfred's son, and his wife lived there in this same house, now much improved and modernized. Our church and parsonage and our country school were at Dell, which was once a post office within the country store. Several years ago, I copied dates from grave markers in the cemetery by the church, so I have the dates for my grandparents and parents. So that's on another page.